Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. I hope everyone is amazing out there today. Today is July 26th, 2025. And I'm finally going to get a chance to cover a big story that was in the news. And you guys know, most of you who follow this channel, and to those of you who are new to the channel, WWE wrestling is one of my major topics that I break down. And so it was kind of unfortunate. I was busy on the day of the death of Hulk Hogan, who is arguably the most famous wrestler of all time. But here we are 2 days late, and we're going to dive into. So many people have already shared amazing codes, so I didn't want to repeat what everyone else said. So I wanted to really focus on this aspect that I'm going to talk about in this decode. But hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to Joe Core. Hello to Coffee Girl. Hello to 7154. Make sure you guys go check out his channel, 7154. Amazing code. And there is a connection to the Golden Gate Bridge here with Hulk Hogan. And what I presented a few days ago on the death of Malcolm, which was the first high-profile death, there is a connection to Ripple, the Golden Gate Bridge. We're going to try to cover all that here as quickly as possible. But yes, Hulk Hogan did die 3220 days after the Golden Gate Bridge opened. So this is another huge thing that I might talk about. The Golden Gate Bridge is a big part of this. But as Georgie says here, he died 32200 days after the Golden Gate Bridge. So this is a super important part of this this riddle. But we might talk about that towards the end. But thank you for bringing that up. That's an important piece. What's up, Sven Dabs? Hope you're doing well, brother. Biden about to turn 322. I'll have to look into that. I didn't know that. Anyways, thank you for all the people who have waited for this. I had a lot of people asking, Cody, where's your Hulk Hogan decode? I mean, the bad thing is, because I'm so late at this, I'm not going to get as many views now, which sucks, because I know that if I would have done this on the day of the death, I would have gotten way more views. For instance, Zach Hubbard from Gematria Effect News, he got like 14K views on his video about Hulk Hogan. But I mean, we just have to accept it the way it is. Right now, we only have 66 in the chat. Please hit those like buttons if you guys enjoy the content. I'm really going to try to break this down in a way that's trying to break down one of the main points of this death. But let's kind of go into what I want to talk about here. So you guys, again, most of you guys already know the news. Hulk Hogan dead on July 24th. The most famous wrestler of all time, essentially. And man, I don't know why my cursor does this. So annoying. Anyways, my cursor is not working, but you guys can see July 24th, 2025 at 71 years old. And yeah, he really brought the WWE and wrestling into the spotlight of the whole world. And he was, as they would say, an icon. So when this news broke, like I said, I was busy, but I definitely was not. Well, anyway, I'll get into it, but it was not a huge shocker. It was shocking, but I'm not 100% surprised considering how the guy treated his body over the years. But his birthday was August 11th. We're going to talk about that and just kind of how all this breaks down. He had a championship reign of 1,474 days, so a very long time. So yeah, he's known for his mustache, of course. I didn't even look into the mustache stuff, but I'm sure there's something with that. There's probably symbolism. But let's jump into this. Thank you to the 75 of you who are in the chat. So as I told you guys, there's already a lot of decoders who have covered this. Zach Hubbard covered this. Gematrinator covered this. I think 7154 even did a video about that. So a lot of people covered this. I didn't want to regurgitate the same information to you guys. I wanted to find some new connections. So this is what I came up with. All right. And the whole theme of this decode is going to be centering around what you see here on the screen, which is about tearing the veil. And I kept noticing on everyone's thumbnails, they were using a picture of Hulk Hogan tearing his t-shirt. And turns out that this is exactly what I thought it was. It's a clear connection to the crucifixion and the tearing of the veil at Jesus's death. And the veil, as in the t-shirt, which covers the temple, which is the body, right? In the Bible, it says your body is a temple. And in the Bible, at Jesus's death, the veil tears as Jesus dies. And that's in the temple that happens. So think about it, guys. In the temple, the veil tears. Hulk Hogan is known for tearing his veil, which covers his temple, which is his body, right? Your body is your temple, right? So he dies just like Jesus died, and then we get the tearing, okay? So is this also symbolic for a war, a civil war, a division, you know? Possibly. But it also could symbolize a revealing of things, of a revealing of something that's hidden. We're going to talk about all these different aspects as we go through, but this is the main topic of the video. So this is the first thing I wanted to point out, and I'm not the first one to point this out. Big shout out to Donut, who I was on his channel a few weeks ago. He's the one who said that there would be a bunch of 201 stuff going down this month. And so let's look at this 201 stuff and let's see how crazy this all really is. And I'm going to add a part of this that no one else, I've never seen anyone else talk about with the 201s. So remember, we had three deaths that were very high profile within 6 days, okay? And the first one was Malcolm Jamal Warner, who died at 54. Remember, the Cosby Show had 201 episodes, right? And he died on the 201st day of the year. So he dies on the 201st day of the year. He was in a show with 201 episodes. 2 days later, Ozzy Osbourne died at 76. Well, Ozzy Osbourne's basic simple gematria is Ozzy Osbourne equals 201. 2 days after Ozzy Osbourne died, Hulk Hogan died, and his listed weight is 201 centimeters. Oh, sorry, not his weight, but his height is 201 centimeters. Now get this, guys, as Donut already pointed out, again, this isn't my find, but the three ages of these three characters who all have a connection to the 201, their ages of 71, 76, and 54, they add up to 201. And this is what I found to go with this decode, to go with all this and put all this together. Look at their names, guys. If you combine their most commonly known names into one gematria cipher, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Hulk Hogan, and Ozzy Osbourne, it equals 201. So not only do their ages at the time of their death sum to 201, but the full gematria of their most commonly known names sums to 201. Now, this is going to bring us all the way back to 2 becoming 1. He tears the veil in 2, revealing the temple or the body, which is one body, right? So 201. The twin towers were 2, and then they were 0, and then they were 1. All right. And remember, Hulk Hogan is famous, and we're going to talk more about this later. But Hulk Hogan is famous for accidentally predicting 9/11. And how is that? During a speech, a promo in the 1989, he was talking about a group in the WWE called the Twin Towers. Him and Macho Man Randy Savage were called the Mega Powers. They were the perfect union. And Hogan went on to say that we're going to crumble the Twin Towers, and the pain is not going to stop until the towers come crumbling down. Okay? So you guys can go watch the clip of this. But anyway, Hulk is known for predicting 9/11 in the most clear prediction of 9/11 you're ever going to see. Okay? So we're talking about this guy, and some people say, going back to the Jesus connection that we're going to talk about, some people say that Jesus was born on September 11th. Let me just get it up here. There's a theory. We don't know for sure when he was actually born, but there is a theory that Jesus was born on September 11th. Okay. So again, this is not, obviously cannot be a proven fact, but it is a theory. Okay. September 11th and 3 BC is the theory. Okay. But anyway, Hulk Hogan is known for predicting 9/11 12 years before it happened. Okay. And notice the Twin Towers and Elizabeth. This is connected to Queen Elizabeth. This woman's name was Elizabeth. But yeah, I just took a bit of a detour to talk about the 9/11 connection. But anyway, the 201 is super big because, again, the 3 deaths that just happened, the 201st day of the year, they all started. The show, that Cosby Show, had 201 episodes. Ozzy died. His name equals 201. And Hulk Hogan, who is 201 centimeters tall, died. Their ages add to 201. Their names add to 201. Okay. Now, this is a number of the group from the Catholic Church called the Society of Jesus. This 201 number, right? The Jesuit order, which is the Society of Jesus, equals 201. This is their calling card, their number. Remember, Pope Francis, his name equaled 201. He lived in Suite 201. The founder of the Jesuits, his name equals 201. So Jesus is ultimately connected to the 201. All right. So I started off by talking about the 201s and how this all connects. Well, Jesus is going to be the next main topic of the rest of this decode. And the Society of Jesus is all about this number. So let's just clearly talk about the first clear connections to Hulk Hogan and Jesus. So not only does Hulk Hogan equal Jesus Christ in 2 ciphers, 43 and 146, Jesus equals 247 in primes, and Hulk Hogan died on 24/7. And Hulk Hogan is known in his later years as being a devout Christian. In fact, he always is walking around wearing a shirt that says John 3:16. Okay? So I don't know how much more obvious I can make it in the beginning of this decode to show that he's clearly connected to Jesus. Okay? His name equals Jesus in 2 ciphers. He died on 24/7, which is the gematria of Jesus. And he's always wearing shirts that points us to Jesus, which John 3:16 is the verse about Jesus being the only begotten Son. Okay? So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear just right off the bat, okay? Now, Hulk Hogan is named Terry. And he's known for tearing his shirts. So just think about that for a second. His name just happens to be Terry, which sounds like tearing. All right? And he's known for tearing his shirts, okay? And as I started this decode talking about, he's connected to Jesus. And when Jesus died, the veil was torn. Okay? And what if I told you that the last ever live appearance for Hulk Hogan was earlier this year, where he got booed out of the building? Oh, by the way, his last ever performance was at this show, guys. It was the Raw debut on Netflix. And I want you guys to look at the cover for the Raw debut on Netflix. Look at what these three superstars are literally doing on the front of this cover. They're tearing the veil. And on that same episode, Hulk Hogan tore his veil with the American flag behind it, right? Jimmy Hart, he tears his veil to revere his chest, which is where the heart is. Jesus is the heart, right? So you can also say the word he rips his shirt. So his last appearance ever, of course, he ripped his shirt. And the word rip can mean two things. It can mean you rip, as in you pull apart something, or it can mean rest in peace. So the word rip is also rest in peace. And now people are going to be saying Hulk is resting in peace. But the main point is they wanted you to know about the tearing of the veil with the front cover here. This was the theme. This is why they made the cover. And we're going to talk about these superstars here because these are the two most famous stars today in WWE, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, who I've talked about millions of times on this channel already. Okay, so if you guys don't know anything about these two guys, you guys haven't been watching my channel for long because I've talked about these two numerous times. So we'll talk about more about them later, but you can see that there's clear symbolism here. So let's read about the tearing of the veil. And in order to do that, we need to go to Matthew 27:50 through 52. So let's read. And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks split. So let's break this down real fast. First, we have a death, like Hulk Hogan just died. Jesus died, and Hulk Hogan just died, right? And then we have a tearing, which Hulk Hogan is known for tearing his veil. But notice it says the curtain of the temple was torn. Again, he's tearing his veil over his temple, which is his body. Your body is your temple. And then the earth shook like an earthquake, and the rocks split. So we have three things here. We have a death, and then we have a tearing, and then we have an earthquake, okay? During the time of Jesus, the temple had two rooms, the holy place and the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies was represented the presence of God. These two rooms were separated by a veil or a curtain. Once a year, on the Day of Atonement, the high priest passed from the holy place through the veil of the temple and entered into the holiest of holies, where he sprinkled the blood of a sin offering to atone for the sins of all the congregation of Israel. When the veil of the temple was torn in two at the death of Jesus Christ, it was a dramatic symbol that Jesus Christ, the great high priest, had passed through the veil of death and would shortly enter into the presence of God the Father. So it's a sin offering. In the Old Testament, it was a sin offering or a blood sacrifice. And a lot of people would say that this Hulk Hogan death might be a blood sacrifice. But then you have the tearing of the veil. And again, remember, his name is Terry. Terry, tearing the veil. I mean, it's not such a common name, guys, the name Terry, especially not for a guy. So it's not a coincidence that his name is Terry, I'm telling you. But look at this. In gematria, the word Jesus Christ equals 74. Jesus equals 74. Veil of the temple equals 74. Tearing equals 74. Tearing the veil equals 74. And Terry Jean Bolea, his full name, equals 74. So if you guys didn't already believe that this is clearly connected to tearing the veil, look at his name, gematria. Terry Jean Bolea equals tearing the veil. And equals veil of the temple in the same cipher. All right. So is that a coincidence that his name equals tearing the veil and his name is Terry and he tears his veil? No, not a coincidence. Okay. Not a coincidence. He's also the most famous wrestler of all time. And Jesus is probably the most famous person of all time. So there's parallels. Jesus is the most famous person that's ever lived, and Hulk would be considered that, that icon, right, in wrestling. But yeah, I mean, now we're going to get to the real part of the connection with Jesus with the 888s. So because he's famous for tearing his shirt, I decided to type in the words tearing shirt. And it was funny when I noticed that it equaled 888. Well, this is a huge Jesus number because in Greek itsosophy, the word Jesus sums to 888. And the phrase torn in two equals 888 and ripped in two equals 888. And again, he's known for shirt tearing, which equals 888. Now, not only that, his initials, he was known as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which is HHH, which is 888. So again, you put all that together, and you have to wonder just how much this is really connected to that riddle with the tearing of the shirt, the tearing of the veil, Jesus dying on the cross, and the veil tearing afterwards. So it's not a coincidence that the next thing that happened, the first WWE programming after his death, the key figure standing right in the center of all the wrestlers who were paying their respects to Hulk Hogan was a guy by the name of none other than Triple H. Guys, are you kidding me? I just showed you this. And the guy who pays tributes to Hulk Hogan is none other than another wrestler who just happens to go by the name Triple H. 888. And look, they gave him a 10-bell salute. If you type out 10-bell salute, it equals 888 in the same cipher as torn in two and tearing shirt, both equals 888, like Jesus equals 888 in Greek. But if that's not enough, Hulk Hogan equals Triple H in two ciphers and equals Jesus Okay, so Hulk Hogan equals 43, Triple H equals 43, and Jesus Christ equals 43. So you tell me, is that a coincidence? Now, who's standing right next to Triple H here? Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is the guy who was tearing the veil the night Hulk Hogan made his final appearance in WWE. There's Cody Rhodes, tearing the veil. Where's Cody from? Georgia. Where's Hulk Hogan from? Georgia. Both from Georgia. They both have blonde hair now, both known for having bleached blonde hair. But yeah, Cody Rhodes tearing the veil. And the first night that WWE pays respects, you have Triple H, and right off to his guess it'd be his left is Cody Rhodes, the guy who was tearing the veil. Thank you, Sojourn, for asking people to hit the like buttons. I appreciate that. But yeah, Cody Rhodes is going to be a big part of this. I really think I haven't even found everything there is to find with Cody Rhodes yet, but now this is the one that kind of blew my mind. So I'm making all this connection with Jesus. Yeah, that's a good point, Jesse's girl. So Jesse's girl is mentioning, let me just bring up her comment here. Hulk Hogan was known as the Real American. His song was called I'm the Real American. I fight for the rights of every man, right? Well, so he's all about America. And the numbers 888 plus 888 equals 1776. So we also have this connection to America with the 888. But look at this, guys. This is clear right here. This is absolutely insane. Look at this. Hulk Hogan was baptized publicly on Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. And from that date to his baptism to his death is 582 days. He was baptized at Indian Rocks Baptist Church. That's a Baptist church. The word Baptist equals 582. He died 582 days after he was baptized in a Baptist church. And his death was in the news 582 days after his baptism. Death equals 582. And what's the chances that Hulk Hogan equals 582? I mean, if you guys don't hit the like button for this, I don't know what you want to hit the like button for. What is the chance of that? Baptist, Hulk Hogan, and death all equal 582. That was the amount of days after he was baptized at a Baptist church. And make sure you guys go check out Dramatrinator 85's video. He talked more in depth about the baptism riddle and how it was connected to him personally. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about with his baptism. Okay. And the water. Okay. My decode about the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner was all about water and ripple. And that's all connected to this. Okay. But let me go back to the 888s real fast. Remember, I already showed you guys how all the 888s were tied to this. But Hulk Hogan, so we have Malcolm Jamal Warner who died first, right? And if we measure from Hulk Hogan's birth to Malcolm Jamal Warner's birth, what do we get? Let me just show you. So Hulk Hogan was born on 8/11. By the way, 8 times 11 is 88. He was born in 53. 5 plus 3 is 8. So all about the 8s. But if we go from Hulk Hogan's birth to Malcolm Jamal Warner, what are the chances? It was exactly 888 weeks. Again, this is from the first death, Malcolm Jamal Warner, his birth, from Hulk's birth to his birth, 888 weeks. Now, remember, I told you guys that the big event that happened that day on the birth of Malcolm Jamal Warner was the release of the song Ripple by the Grateful Dead. You guys remember my decode from a few days ago where I talked about Ripple and the Grateful Dead? So that means Hulk Hogan's birth was 888 weeks before the Ripple song debuted. And Malcolm Jamal Warner was born that day. And Malcolm Jamal Warner's death created a ripple effect of deaths, starting with him and then happening with Ozzy and then Hulk. Okay. So this guy who was born on the Ripple song debut, his death, he drowned, remember, in water. Hulk Hogan was baptized in water. And this ripple effect is all about ripples, guys. Ripples in the water, ripple in time. His deaths caused a ripple effect of deaths. Okay. So again, from his baptism to his death, 582 days. Baptist equals 582. Hulk Hogan, 582. Death, 582. Okay. And look at what Hulk Hogan said. He said, in 2007, Hogan said, I've leaned on my religion. I was saved when I was 14. I accepted Christ as my savior. He died on the cross and paid for my sins, and I would have went sick the wrong way. I could have self-destructed, but I took the high road. So again, all this stuff I've already talked about with Jesus, how he's connected to Jesus, and how this is all connected to the day Jesus was crucified and the tearing of the veil. And he even talks about how Jesus died for his sins. So let's bring all this together because this all connects to Matthew 27, 50 through 52. So let's bring this together. So I told you, Hulk Hogan is known for tearing the veil. In Matthew 51, 27, 51, the veil gets torn and then there's an earthquake, okay? And then the rock splits. Well, Hulk Hogan is famous for having feuds with two different people. One of them is The Rock. So here is Hollywood Hulk Hogan, HHH, versus The Rock. And here is a match between Hollywood Hogan or Hulk Hogan and a guy named Earthquake. See Earthquake right here? How he's sitting on Hulk Hogan? So you tell me if this is a coincidence, guys. Matthew 27:51 talks about a tearing of a veil, which Hulk Hogan does. It talks about an earthquake, and it talks about a rock splitting. And The Rock is very connected with earthquakes, right? He was in a movie about an earthquake, San Andreas. And notice how they stylized WrestleMania 18. They wrote this WrestleMania X8. So they didn't put the normal Roman numerals here. They put X8, again, pointing us back to the eights. It's almost like saying WrestleMania times 8, like 888, you know? But what's the chances that he was baptized at Indian rocks? And again, in the verse, Matthew 27:51, it says the rocks split. And he was baptized at Indian rocks. He was facing, in one of the most famous matches of all time, he faced The Rock. Jesus is The Rock, right? I mean, metaphorically, Jesus is The Rock, okay? Now, I want everyone to pay attention for this and share this if you like, because this is the one that brings this all together and just is absolutely astonishing. Yeah, we're going to talk about the New World Order in a second, because I think that's what the tearing of the veil is all about, to reveal the New World Order, okay? So get ready for this one, guys. Here we go. So I mentioned in Matthew 27:51, it says, at that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn, like Hogan's t-shirt. From top to bottom, the earth shook like an earthquake, and the rocks split, okay? So if we measure from Hulk Hogan's SummerSlam match between Hulk Hogan and Earthquake to the day of his death, it's 1275 days, 0, or 12751. Guys, do you see it? Do you see it? From his match with Earthquake where Matthew 27:51 mentions a tearing of a veil and an earthquake, if you measure from their match to his death, it's 12:751. Look at this. In the number is the verse of Matthew 27:51 in the exact order. Do you guys see this? Where's my mind blown? Is anyone mind blown? Because this is crazy. And look at this. The gematria of Jesus Christ is 1275. Does anyone see this? This proves it. This has the Jesus Christ coded, 1275 is the gematria, and it has the verse. This is unbelievable. Considering all I've already talked about, and this verse, this whole decode is about this verse. And you're going from the earthquake and the Hogan to this. It's the verse itself to 12751, and it's perfectly mixed with the words Jesus Christ because that equals 1275. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? So again, it's always good to find these biblical connections because it adds an even deeper layer on top of this. I see Joseph just got in the chat. Well, Joseph, I know you talked a lot about the 201s, but let me just, I don't know if you've seen this one. I've added this one to this. You already know about the 201s with Malcolm Jamal and The Cosby Show and Ozzy Osbourne. Hulk Hogan's height was 201 centimeters. Their ages add up to 201 when they died. And look at this. Their names all add up to 201. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Hulk Hogan, and Ozzy Osbourne all add up to 201. That's for you, Joseph. I know you might like that one. And then, of course, this is why I started talking about Jesus, because the number of the society of Jesus is 201. Okay. He died on 24/7. Hulk died on 24/7. Jesus equals 24/7. Jesus Christ equals Hulk Hogan in 2 ciphers. He's talking always about Jesus, John 3:16. He's known for tearing his shirts. His name is Terry. When Jesus died, his last performance in WWE was, the cover of it was the Netflix debut, and the cover was people tearing veils. And again, tearing the veil equals his full name, Terry Gene Bollea, equals 74, like tearing the veil. The word tearing equals 74. The word Jesus equals 74. Jesus Christ equals 74. Veil of the temple equals 74. I mean, we know how big that number is. Jesus equals 888 in Greek, and Hulk Hogan is Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which is 888. The guy who gave tribute to him after his death on WWE's first episode after his death is Triple H. They gave him a 10-bell salute, which equals 888. Triple H is 888. Again, Jesus equals 888. He was baptized 582 days before his death. Baptist 582. Hulk Hogan 582. Death 582. But then this is where we just got the verse about the earthquake and the tearing of the veil is Matthew 27:51. And that's if you measure in days from his earthquake versus, and this is important, guys, because this is a SummerSlam event. You see this SummerSlam? Well, what's the next show coming up for WWE after the Hulk Hogan's death? SummerSlam. Guys, I just figured it out. This is the first SummerSlam. Look how they have this divider here. This is all about tearing apart, guys, tearing a veil. This is the first ever WWE SummerSlam that's going to be torn in two. Oh, this just now hit me. This SummerSlam is the first ever one ever in their whole history that's 2 nights. So they tore it in two, guys. It's always been one night, and they tore it in two for the first time. Oh, my goodness. Do you guys understand this? This is crazy. I just now put this together. This is the first one ever, guys. Right after the guy who's known for tearing his shirt in two dies, the WWE is going to be tearing their SummerSlam in two on August 2nd and August 3rd. And what is August 2nd this year? Look at this. Look, what is August 2nd and 3rd this year, guys? Tisha B'Av. So SummerSlam is literally on the 2 days of Tisha B'Av, the two towers, guys. Come on now. What does Tisha B'Av equal in gematria? What is Hulk Hogan known for predicting? Tisha. Whoops. So Tisha B'Av equals 911. This is where we get the 9/11 code from. Hulk Hogan is famous for predicting 9/11. He's known for tearing his shirt in two. And now the first SummerSlam after his death is going to be torn in two. It's going to be made 2 nights. And it's going to be on Tisha B'Av. The 2 nights of Tisha B'Av. The 9th of Av, right? The 9/11 code. This is absolutely insane. And Tisha B'Av is to commemorate the disasters of the Jewish history, the destruction of Solomon's temple, okay? And I've been talking about this whole video that during Jesus' crucifixion, the veil was torn in the temple. And Hulk Hogan, again, he tears his veil on his temple. So August 2nd, August 3rd looks like something to look forward to. This, I mean, I'm going to show you why August 11th is also very important. A fault line. Yeah, we're talking about earthquakes, right? We're talking about tearing the earth in two. Tearing fault line. So, and then again, I talked about how this was connected to the rock and earthquake symbolism. An earthquake rupture is where, the faults slip. So, I don't think it's a coincidence that if we're going from his match versus the guy named Earthquake, that you get the 1275 and then you get the 2751, which points you to the verse. But yeah, and then if you guys watch this interview with Hulk Hogan on this podcast, he talks about his Jesus thing, and he talks about his baptism and the water, okay, the reset. And of course, he's known for being part of the New World Order, right? Well, New World Order, actually, I'm going to get to that, but this is all, what I think this is connected to is the revealing of a new world order, right? And when Jesus died on the cross, a new order was revealed, because no longer did you have to go into did you have to go to the person, the high priest, who had to go into the temple and mediate. Now there was a new order. And that new order was that Jesus is the mediator. He is the perfect mediator, right? So when Jesus died and the veil was torn, it established a new order to how things worked, right? No longer did you have to go into the temple and go to the high priest, and no longer did the high priest have to sacrifice an animal and go into the holiest of holies and sacrifice the animal, okay? So Hulk Hogan dying is also symbolic of the sacrificing of the animal or the sacrifice, which causes the new world order, right? Because again, this is a new order. So remember, I told you that on the front of the cover of the WWE, his last performance, you had these three characters, the Trinity, right? Three characters tearing the veil right here. Widow's Son's in the chat. Much love to you, brother. Make sure you guys go check out Widow's Son. He's been posting some great stuff with Sirius. But yeah, make sure you guys go check out him. He's got a wrench with a blue wrench in the chat. But look at this. Remember, the big event in wrestling was on April 7th, 2024, when Roman Reigns lost his championship to Cody Rhodes after 1,316 days. So Roman Reigns, he was right. In fact, he was right behind Hulk Hogan. You see this, guys? Hulk Hogan's reign was 1,474 days. And Roman Reigns, he ended his reign at 1,316. So he was right behind Hulk Hogan in the longest amount of days reigning. Okay, Roman Reigns. Okay. But why 1,316 days? Well, because in gematria, the word Jesus Christ equals 1316. That's the amount of days that Roman Reigns reigned. Well, what if we go from when Roman Reigns lost his championship after 1316 days to the death of Hulk Hogan, who he was behind? It was 1 year, 3 months, and 16 days, 1,316. That was from this day. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are the two characters on the front of this cover in his last performance, his last appearance, tearing the veil. Okay? That's why these two characters are so important, right? I talked so much about this match. This happened in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. What does Hulk Hogan always say? He always says, brother. Okay? Brother. He says, what you gonna do, brother? Or, all that stuff. So he always says brother, and then Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns. And in this match, in this stadium that day, there was a huge match between two brothers who are twins. Again, like splitting the veil. But yeah, anyway, the 1316 is representative of Jesus. It represents the reign. And now it's between these two, the same. So, and then we're going to talk more about 9/11 here for a second. He died not 23 years, 316 days after 9/11. Again, he's going around wearing this shirt everywhere. And again, some people say that Jesus was born on 9/11. And notice how the cross is stylized on his shirt here. Because this cross looks like a 1. It looks like the number 1361 or 1316, which again is the number I just revealed. Right? 1316. But yeah, he died 23 years, 316 days after 9/11. The guy who predicted the 9/11 event, right? Clearly. But here's where we talk about something that Casey Jones Astrology has been bringing up to me for over a year. He's been pointing out the day August 11th, 2025, or August 12th, 2025. And we just get the death of a guy who's born on August 11th. Hulk Hogan, born on August 11th. Hulk Hogan started his career as Super Destroyer. Again, this is the same guy who predicted 9/11. If we go from 9/11/01 to the birthday on August 11th, which would be Hulk Hogan's 72nd birthday, it's exactly 1248 weeks, guys. And 1248 is the number that we've been looking at for this day, because 1248 is the gematria of the tower. And the tower, hopefully you guys see what I'm getting at here. The tower equals 1248. His original wrestling name was Super Destroyer, which equals 1249, which in the rule of Colel, 1249 can be another 1248. The number 1 can come and go as it pleases. In Freemasonry, that's called the rule of Colel. So 1249 and 1248. And again, his birthday, if he was still alive, would be 1248 weeks after the tower on 9/11. And that's the gematria of the tower. So is there going to be a tower destruction ritual, something connected to this on his birthday this year? Remember, he fought the Twin Towers in wrestling. Okay. That's when he predicted he had a feud with the Twin Towers. Let me just pull up this group. So you guys, for those of you who don't know who this is the group called the Twin Towers. And when Hulk Hogan was talking about tearing the towers down, he was talking about these two guys. They called them the Twin Towers. And but yeah, the temple is the Tisha B'Av is connected to this. Remember, WrestleMania or SummerSlam this year coming up is on Tisha B'Av. And he died just days before WrestleMania. Actually, let me see. Was it would have been 7? It would have been 9. Wait, hold on. So you could say that from Hulk Hogan's death on July 24th to Tisha B'Av, or also which is SummerSlam this year in wrestling, you could say that it's 9 days if you don't span it, or if you add the day, you could say it's 11 days. You guys see that? So from Hulk's death to the 2 days of WrestleMania, you could get a 9/11. 9 days and 11 days. So definitely that seems to be the riddle as well. You got the 9 and 11 code after his death is SummerSlam, which again is important to point out that this is the first ever 2-night SummerSlam where they basically tore it apart. They made it from 1 night to 2. It's in New Jersey, which probably connects to Trump. And look who's on the cover, guys. John Cena. Now, how does John Cena come into all this? Well, we're talking about John 3:16. Okay. Well, John 3:16 is what Hulk Hogan wears around. And look at the gematria of John Cena. Notice how John Cena equals Hulk Hogan in the same cipher as Jesus Christ. Let me just pull it up so you guys can see it here. And of course, this is Trump's birthday. So yeah, Hulk Hogan equals Jesus Christ equals John Cena. And John Cena is probably the other most famous wrestler of all time, right? And so here you got Hulk Hogan wearing a John 3:16 shirt. And now the first SummerSlam after his death is going to be featuring John Cena. and Cody Rhodes, who tears the veil. I just wanted to point out, I didn't look any more into Cody Rhodes yet, but look at where Cody Rhodes is from. He's from Marietta, Georgia. Again, Hulk Hogan is from Georgia. So one of the Twin Towers, the group in the WWE that I was just telling you about, his name was Big Boss Man. And Big Boss Man just happened to be born in the same city as Cody Rhodes grew up, Marietta, Georgia. Well, from Boss Man's birth to Cody Rhodes' birth, it's 8095 days, which is an important number because Jesus equals 985 and Judas equals 895 and Donald Trump equals 589. So these numbers, as I've talked about many times on my channel, so this is definitely connected. Remember, the Georgia Guidestones also went down. Cody Rhodes from Georgia, Hulk Hogan's from Georgia, Big Boss Man's from Georgia. He died on September 22nd, this guy. But yeah, let me jump into a few other things. So going back to Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan, they actually starred in a movie together. They were actually in the same movie. And look at this. The movie is called Romeo and Juliet. The greatest love story you never known. So this goes back to the love theme that me and AJ are always talking about. So what if I told you that Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan were in this movie together? Well, what's Romeo and Juliet equal? It equals 146. Do you guys see it? Romeo and Juliet. If you write it the way without the ampersand, it equals 146. Like Jesus Christ, like John Cena, like Hulk Hogan. And so, I mean, you guys can see right here, Hulk Hogan played the Terra Firminator. What does that equal? Terra Firminator. Oh, look at that. Terra Firminator, 185, like World Trade Center. Huh. Donald John Trump. But yeah, I don't know. In the chat, somebody's saying that I'm calling him Jesus. I'm not. I'm just using the name that they give us. That's why we do decodes. His real name might be Yeshua, but we're talking about Jesus because that's the English name that's most given. So, but yeah, I get it. I know that we got 7154 in the chat who's talking about the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, oh, that's a good one. 7154 or yeah, 7154. He writes, where is it? Hold on. Man, where's that comment? Oh, yeah. So here it is. 7154. He wrote, Hogan and Trump are born 7 years, 59 days apart. Georgia Guidestones equals 759. Yeah, that's great. Guys, make sure you guys go check out his channel, because I think I'm just going to have to do a whole nother video talking about the Golden Gate Bridge. As 7154 mentioned, Hulk Hogan was originally also known as Sterling Golden. So there you're getting point once again. Remember, Jesus is connected to the Golden Gate as well because Jesus entered Jerusalem through the Golden Gate. So Hulk Hogan being named Sterling Golden. But if we take his full name, this is what I found, and this will be like a little bit of a sneak peek for possibly a decode. I don't know why I can't use this cursor anymore. So his full name in the standard gematria cipher equals 1280. And what I found interesting about that is if you go to the Golden Gate Bridge, notice that the span of meters between the two towers, which look like H's, by the way, but the span between the two towers is 1280 meters. And again, that's the gematria of Hulk Hogan's full name, 1280. There's more to it. Make sure you guys go check out 7154's channel. He did a video about it too. Or I think he did a short video about it. I think he did some posts as well. But Widow's Son is also saying that he died 444 weeks after Trump's inauguration. Yep, and then Jesus equals 444 as well, which is half of 888. All right, we got a few more things to talk about here. I just want to get back to the movie Romeo and Juliet. So if you guys watch the interview or the clip of Hulk Hogan talking about destroying the Twin Towers, he mentions love and the heart. And it's interesting to me that this love theme continues because, again, this movie that Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan were in, it's the top part says the greatest love story you've never known. So if anyone wants to look more into this movie as well, but yeah, I mean the point here, I mean the Chuck Mangione people are talking about, I haven't looked into him, but it's all connected to Jesus. There's not, I mean, based off of what I've showed you here, I don't think that you can deny that this guy is connected to Jesus. All right, so I think we've hit on all the points here. If you guys have anything else to share, please drop a comment and let me know what you guys find connecting to this. But I really think that I'll have maybe a part 2 on this, connecting it with the Golden Gate. But until then, make sure you guys hit the like buttons on the way out. And there's also a buy me a coffee link at the top if you guys want to support the channel. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you very soon with the next video. All right, God bless.